How can a man know he is one when his highest aim is minding his manners? John Eldridge.
Welcome back to the Headspace and Tasting Podcast, where we talk manhood, tell stories, and discuss the stuff that matters to us, one sip at a time.
What's up, Matt?
Apparently, I'm going to have to be the professional tonight.
You might have to.
Welcome back to my house, man. I don't know how to start this because we are... What do you want to call this? An audible?
Is it an audible just because we're doing it a couple days early because I'm going to be gone this weekend?
Well, I need a few days for my brain to process the last show we were on.
All right, yeah, whatever. All right, let's kick into the bourbon then.
Here we go.
All right, cool. We're going to do a flight of bourbon tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight we are going to drink 3 different bourbons from the Wolcott brand. And the first one is, Matt?
This is just Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 90 proof. That's all it says. Distilled by Barton, 1792. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
I believe it's their small batch.
Yeah. Is it small batch? It doesn't say on there.
Well, it said it on the box.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of it? That sounded better than my cork pull.
This is what I would call a drinker. It's like Evan Williams, kind of like something you could sip, sitting on the porch on a hot day, maybe. A couple ice cubes in it.
Is that one you'll enjoy, sitting on a porch on a hot day? Really?
No, I didn't say I would enjoy it. I just said I could drink it.
Oh, okay.
It's very young. You can tell it's not developed. It doesn't have a very deep flavor profile.
It is an immature bourbon. I grant you that.
Even the color, it's a little pale, right?
Not much on the leg. If you're a leg man, this isn't your bourbon.
Not the one for you.
Nope.
And when I smell bananas, when I like banana peach type of.
Well, you did better than me because when I was smelling it, I actually questioned the fact whether or not my nose was even working tonight.
It's not strong. I mean, you could down a whole shooter of this and not wince. I think.
No, I would call it a good beginner's bourbon. If you're someone who's wanting to try out bourbon, give this one a shot.
Yeah, like if you're, if you got the grill going at 12 o'clock and you don't want to be poopy faced by 3, then this would be a good one.
I mean, it's got a decent spicy hit right from the start.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of honey in it on the flavor. Absolutely no finish whatsoever.
No, I just wrote smooth, and I taste wheat on this one.
Okay.
I taste some wheat, and I wrote smooth/young.
Yeah, it runs about $30 a bottle, and if I was shopping for a bourbon in the $30 range, this was not the one I was going to go for.
No, go with Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
That or Buffalo Trace or Maker's Mark.
Yeah. Those are good choices.
I'm looking for those kinds of drinkers. It rates there, but on the lower end, my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they had this flight in mind, like this. What do you call it? This lineup of bourbons. So maybe they started with this so they could get another one in, to have something on the shelf while these other 2 are aging.
Yeah. And maybe they sold it that way on purpose because they want you to drink something that's not so great so you can move into the stuff that is much better and go, I'm going to spend some more money.
Oh, you know what? We should have started on the other end and
worked our way backwards.
Yeah, then we'd be like, oh, these are getting worse.
Yeah. Yeah, we could have done that.
I wouldn't say that, like, I've tasted some bourbons that I'm like, that's disgusting.
Oh, it's not a bad bourbon.
No.
So,
I don't want to knock it too hard.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate it?
3.5.
Okay. You didn't want to knock it too hard? All right.
Well, I mean, it's not Old Crow or, whatever comes in a plastic bottle.
Right.
But it's a valiant effort, I'd say.
So what you're telling me is if someone bought you a glass of this, you would gladly drink it.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say, gee, thanks.
Because you're a gentleman.
Yeah, I'm kind. I'm not necessarily a nice guy, but I'm kind.
Yeah. Hey, Sergeant Major, welcome to the show. little light on the color, like you said,
Yeah,
and light on the flavor.
I agree. Maybe like even if you mixed this with something, like say you put this with ginger ale or something like that, all you would taste is ginger ale. I think you would barely taste the bourbon.
I have never heard anybody ever say that they would mix a bourbon with ginger ale.
No, you've never had that with a lime, a wedge of lime in it.
That's like a girl thing, ain't it?
It's pretty good, man. It's not a girl thing.
It sounds like a girl thing.
I don't know, dude. I think it's okay on a hot summer day.
Speaking of, I'm reading a James Bond book right now.
Yeah.
Ian Fleming's The Man with the Golden Gun. And I have never read any of the James Bond books, and I'm a huge James Bond fan when it comes to the movies. So, The Man with the Golden Gun, if you've seen the movie, the book is nothing like it. Some of the characters are the same, but nothing about the book is in the movie. Some of the things in the book bounce around between 3 or 4 different James Bond movies.
Oh, okay.
But one of the statements in it is James Bond going back to his room and having Jack Daniel's Blue Label.
Blue Label?
I mean...
Johnny Walker, JJ. Yeah.
Johnny Walker Blue Label, and he would pour himself 3 fingers and then top it off with a couple ice cubes. And then that's how he drank his bourbon, at least in the book.
Well, it's scotch, but it's not bourbon.
Yeah, I know. Scotch whiskey.
Because James Bond is Scottish. In the book, he's really Scottish.
Is he Scottish?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, who's your favorite James Bond? Who played that role the best?
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Is my iconic favorite.
Okay.
Number 2 is Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Because I think he painted James Bond more the way I would picture James Bond.
Okay.
And then Sean Connery was more of the gentleman version of the James Bond. He represents more, I think, what the books describe than any of the others.
Really? Okay.
After that, I would go with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, I think Pierce Brosnan was the perfect in between Daniel Craig and Sean Connery.
Yes. After that, I'm going George Lazenby. He only did 1.
Ooh.
And I really liked him as James Bond.
Okay.
And his Bond girl in that movie was Diana Rigg. And I've always...
That's the actress's name?
Yes.
Okay.
I've always been nuts over Diana Rigg.
What's her character's name?
I don't know. But she's the one who he married who was killed.
Didn't he marry, I guess he didn't marry her.
No.
Eva Green?
Nope.
That's my favorite Bond girl.
And then, but if you know Diana Rigg, if you ever look at her up, nice woman.
What the kids call a dime piece.
And then from there it would be Roger Moore, and then...
Roger Moore was pretty good.
After
he had like the coolest car, like the one that went underwater.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? Pierce Brosnan went underwater too, didn't he?
Did he?
Or he had the one that was on the ice.
Oh, he had the ice car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that would have been Timothy Dalton, who was the worst.
Yeah.
But see, he was the 1980s AIDS, James Bond, and his movies, he had 1 woman per show. She lasted the whole show.
Whoa.
Because they were trying to get away from, the promiscuity.
Diana Rigg was in Game of Thrones.
She's best known for The Avengers. British TV series from the 1960s.
Yeah, she is a knockout.
That's how I remember her. I used to watch The Avengers.
Man, I don't know. Evergreen's got her beat.
Yeah, but the Avengers, when she was in the Avengers, she wore leather. Look it up. Anyway.
Agree to disagree.
So we go. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
See? Caitlin knows what I'm talking about.
That's only because you can get away with more now than you could in the 60s.
Oh, no way, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Censors were more intense in the 60s than they were.
The women in the 2000s have the genetically modified meats and milk and with all the steroids and the hormones in it.
Okay. You're right. So I don't like her. I still like Dinah Rigg better. She's all natural.
She's a bit anorexic to me, but
my wife is most resembled towards Dinah Rigg.
Yeah, I would say so.
Love you, Gail.
Yeah. Good for you, man. Good for you. And Caitlin does.
She's not Pussy Galore from Goldfinger.
What's next on the whiskey taste?
Well, let's see. Up next, number 2 in our flight is Wolcott Bottled in Bond.
And we are bottled in bond shills on this show.
We kind of are right now.
That's like our favorites. All of them are bottled.
So far. What do you think about Bottled in Bond?
This was excellent, I would say.
Okay.
Still the same on the nose, the banana peach, what they call like a stone fruit smell. And then tasting it, I wrote sweet heat. You ever had something like a barbecue or something that was like sweet and hot barbecue sauce, or like the Korean barbecue? It's kind of that reminded me of
Carolina.
Not the same. Well, yeah, I guess so.
Not that kind of Carolina barbecue sauce?
I'm not a fan of Carolina.
Really?
Let's not go there.
All right.
Wow. No,
we might have to have a cook-off.
I like the mustard sauce, personally. I like mustard, but it's only on pork. Anyway.
All right.
I get more corn flavor with this one, and some leather aroma and taste.
Wow, you got a lot out of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Proud of you. For me, the aroma was cherry, like black cherry kind of aroma.
Yeah, I can get that.
Actually, no, take that back. Not black cherry, like Amarana cherry that you would get at a bar, a whiskey bar.
Oh, like a what do they call that? Maraschino cherry?
No. An Amarana cherry.
Like in a cherry in...
They're aged differently.
Really?
Yeah, it's not as sweet as a maraschino cherry.
I said maraschino.
Yeah, no, I heard you.
There's 2 different kinds.
Okay, all right. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, so that's kind of what I was smelling. However, when I tasted it, it was more along the lines of still the fruity line, but like a plum or maybe a pluot flavor. Pluot?
What the heck is that?
It's between a plum and an apricot. They kind of go together. It's a pluot.
Huh.
They come out every spring, early summer. They'll be at the grocery store. Get a pluot.
Okay.
I like them better than the plums.
Yeah, I'm not a plum fan.
Pluots
it hurts my jaw
great.
when it's like tart. Like the skin is really tart, but the meat is sweet.
Pluot is much better.
Okay. I do like apricots.
I'm sorry. It is an apricot and a plum combination. That makes a pluot. But and
it's
then
like a hybrid fruit?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then it's got some nutty finish.
Yeah, I
And
almost wrote that down, but
very subtle, like you described last week. But it's like an apple pie. Very subtle.
The combination of all the flavors.
At the very end, toward the finish. I like the Bottled in Bond. It's a decent one.
Maybe. The more I taste it and the more I talk about it, I think they did a great job on this. Bardstown again, but and maybe we're 100 proof guys. I think like we like a little bit stronger higher alcohol on our drinks, a little bit more punch in the mouth.
Okay, well, you say you like higher alcohol.
Yeah.
What you think of the third one?
So I said the Bottle and Bond was excellent. The Rickhouse Reserve, which is 120 proof,
Yeah.
and they write it in red letters, and it has a red, what do they call that? That goes over the top there.
That's the tax stamp.
Text stamp?
But they're technically not tax stamps because
Tax stamps.
taxes. It's the tax stamp.
It says elevated proof on both sides of the tax stamp, but they just put that on there for tradition.
Yes.
So I said the Bottled and Bond 100 proof was excellent. I would say that the Rickhouse is even better.
Agreed.
Smelling it, nosing it, I didn't get the banana peach nosing. It was more nail polish alcohol for me, but
Really?
I'm taking a second and I'm trying to go back to it because I know that's just the alcohol coming off, and I tasted the other two first, and
I didn't get that at all on the Rickhouse. The Rickhouse for myself
I'm getting more vanilla now.
Vanilla, a little bit of buttery
Yeah.
aroma. And that's kind of how it went with the taste. It was peachy. Pit fruit is what you mentioned in the first one. I'll go this on the third one. And it coats the tongue well.
Yeah, it's hot, man.
I like how it coats the tongue and kind of lingers there. Gives you a spicy finish with some caramel notes at the very end.
What are those candies, those cinnamon candies that are real hot,
Red Hots?
Red Hots. Yeah, that's kind of what I get from it. But not like, what's that cheap whiskey you get in a plastic bottle at the gas station that is like cinnamon whiskey, but it's not really whiskey. They can't call it whiskey, technically. Fireball?
Fireball whiskey?
Yeah, it's
really?
not like that.
No.
No. This is quality, like cinnamon and heat.
Yeah, so I'm going to rate them. I'm going to rate the Rickhouse number 1, Bottled and Bond number 2, and the Straight Kentucky Bourbon number 3.
I agree.
The Rickhouse, matter of fact, I got 2 pours of the Rickhouse sitting in front of me right now because it's my favorite. And I want to enjoy myself.
I think if it's a Thursday night and I want to pour a drink to have while I relax and watch HBO or something, I would probably go Bottle and Bond.
Okay.
If it's a Saturday night at the fire pit with the boys, I'm going Rickhouse.
I was gonna say if I had a guest, I'm bringing the Rickhouse out.
Yeah, because you're going to get some conversation over that. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bottled and Bond is very good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what you would expect from a Bottled and Bond, I'd say. The straight bourbon whiskey, I don't know, man.
Oh.
I feel like I'm burping too. We haven't eaten dinner yet, so this is getting rough. Yeah, I mean, I could drink it, but it's like, I'd rather have Evan Williams.
Yeah, if I had them, all 3 of them on the shelf, I'm going to grab the Rickhouse and take that home.
Okay.
I'll let the others sit there. And I'm going to pay a little bit more. The first one, the straight bourbon, $17.92.
Which they call that small batch?
Well, it said it on the box.
Oh, okay. That's just a marketing thing.
This runs about $30.
That's overpriced.
And if I'm going to pay $30 for it, I'm going to shoot for the Maker's Mark or Buffalo Trace before I go for this.
You can get Evan Williams Bottled and Bond a handle for that much.
Yeah. And then the other 2 together, each one of them run about $45 each, even though they're different.
I think that's a good deal.
Yeah. By the way, what is the Rickhouse, Matt? What is the Rickhouse?
The Rickhouse is where they store the barrels, and they move them. They move them around. If you're looking for a consistent taste, consistent palate, they would move them to different elevations within the Rickhouse, because up higher is hotter, down lower is cooler, different places have different humidities, and they can open some shutters.
Yeah, they do actually rotate them around, don't
Yeah, they do. But what I think Wolcott, I think what they did with this was they left them alone. Maybe the bourbon stayed down low. Then they had another, second floor, third floor, whatever, for bottle and bond, and then up higher. And they just kind of left them there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're a Wolcott expert, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't know the mash bills on them. We didn't do any research on them. We didn't feel like doing it.
No.
We just brought it out and said, let's do it. Let's do a flight.
Yeah, this is a good flight, I think, because everyone is very different.
Yeah.
And
they are.
They're all three good.
Yeah.
And it goes from good to extraordinary, almost. Not extraordinary. I'm not going to say that. Henry McKenna last week was up there.
It was good.
It was up there.
Yes.
I wouldn't say extraordinary. It was up there.
Yeah. This
is pretty damn good.
It is. I really enjoy them.
And for $45, man, that's a bargain. For 120 proof and $45, you're going to be working on that bottle for a while. Right?
Which one?
The Rick House?
No, it'll be gone. I'm going to take it with me to Chicago this weekend.
You're going to traffic liquor across state lines?
Hell yeah.
That's the American way.
I might even bring a concealed weapon into Illinois.
Do it. With your open bottle of liquor.
By the way, if anybody knows anything about Wolcott that they would like to contribute, you can reach us at showmemk@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or you can comment on our Spotify, YouTube, or Facebook, or X accounts. All of them are the same, the Headspace and Tasting Podcast.
I'm going to put a challenge out there for our people who listen. Because every episode we have at least, the very least 8 people listen.
Yeah.
At the very most 20, 40. I dare you to leave a comment on one of our social media sites.
I double dog dare you.
I think that, we're going to do something, we have some important things that we're going to say here in the future. I really feel like it.
It's coming.
Because we're running out of surface level stuff to talk about.
We sure are.
And I'm feeling a pull to get deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at the point in my life where I'm okay with that. I'm ready to be real.
Me too. And part of it, though, I want to be able to hear from our listeners. What do you want me to talk about? Yeah. What do you want you to talk about?
Not that you care about our opinions on stuff, but we can have a discussion.
Sure.
And a conversation. And if you want to come on the show, you can come over anytime.
We had our first comment in 3 months this past week.
Yeah.
One of our listeners said, you know what? Oh, the sidewalk rule.
The sidewalk rule.
With lots of claps.
Yeah.
Behind it.
Gentlemen,
what is the sidewalk rule?
You should walk on the outside. As a man, you walk on the traffic side of the sidewalk.
Yep.
There's if a car is going to come across the curb, you're the one that gets hit by the car, not your woman.
You're going to knock the woman out of the way.
You push her out of the way and take the hit.
Yeah.
Our most loyal listener, by the way, commenting, and we really appreciate them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're rooting for them, our listener. I am.
Me too.
Whenever I can we say, I'm not going to say. Whenever I see them, I'm like, come on.
Right. I do it every time I walk in the door at the home. Let's go.
Come on. I guess that's an inside joke.
Yeah, well, you know what? But speaking of, I have a PSA.
Oh, yeah.
A public service announcement.
Okay.
Beep.
All right.
This is a public service announcement from the Headspace and Tasting Podcast. Beep. Okay.
Is that my tinnitus or is that Kevin?
This week, we had a coworker report to us that she had her car stolen
Yeah.
and her purse.
Yeah. Not only her car, but her purse as well.
And not only just her, but another woman at the same gas station at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my PSA to everyone, especially the women, because
Yes.
that was the target.
Yeah. I'll go into tactics here in a second.
But this is to everybody. When you are going to get gas in your car, number one, don't leave your keys in your car.
No.
Number two, if you're a key fob driver and you don't need your keys on you, keep them in your pocket so that way they don't have access to them.
Right.
What happened was in this incident is that while this person was getting gas and standing and filling up her tank, someone got into the passenger side car door, pulled the purse, and ran away. They didn't go away. They just hid behind a bush. It's all on camera. And then they had access to the key fob. They locked the doors. She couldn't get into her car. So she looked in the window, no purse. So she walked inside the car, into the gas station, and said, "Hey, someone stole my purse. I can't get into my car." In the meantime, the people who had her purse got back into the car because they had the key fob. It was in her purse. Drove off with the car. She looked out the window. Her car is gone. The exact same thing happened to another woman at the same time, same gas station.
Yeah. So this is a case of a lack of situational awareness, but also people need to realize there are predators in this world. And these predators are thinking about ways to prey upon you all day. They have nothing better to do but than to sit around and think about ways to ambush you or prey upon you. So you need to make yourself a tough target. When you get out of your car, look around, see what's going on. Maybe you need to get back in your car and go to another gas station. I've done that numerous times, just based off the feeling I had in my gut. Maybe I need to lift my shirt up over my pistol and have my hand on my pistol while I pump my gas. I've done that too because I really needed gas. If you don't, I mean, thankfully, she didn't have a pistol in the car that was stolen along with her purse. And, she did get the car back.
She lost all her IDs.
But all her IDs, like credit card, I'm sure credit card, debit cards,
everything's
all that.
gone.
Yeah. And this was in our county where this happened.
Yep.
Where, you think you're relatively safe over here, but complacency kills, man. We talked about this before.
Right.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt. There was no carjacking type of situation. It was just thievery. But the tactics that were employed here are pretty incredible, man.
Yeah.
Like, they were sitting and waiting, probably for a woman, because they know that they keep their keys in their purse. And
they're usually on the floor or on the seat on the passenger side.
And they're probably looking for a woman who's on her cell phone while she's pumping gas, because they're not paying attention to what's going on behind them. And you know what? Now in those gas pumps, they have like the commercials play, right? So you're looking at what's going on the screen. You're distracted, and you can't hear because that thing is loud, and you can't hear your car door open. But yeah, thankfully nobody was hurt. The car was recovered. IDs can be replaced. Credit cards, debit cards can be, blocked and canceled. Hopefully before things were spent.
At another level, when you're pumping gas, again, you need to always be aware, like you said, situational awareness. You need to make sure that you do not box yourself in
Right.
when you're pumping gas. So as you're pumping gas, you should pull your car up a little bit farther than the pump itself.
Yep.
And then you walk forward to put the gas in.
That gas pump will reach about 6 feet.
Right. So you always have a way to run away, or you have visibility to someone who's coming for you. Don't just stare at the pump or stare at the car.
The number's going to keep
Look
going
around.
up. The numbers are going up. Are you filling, like, just fill your tank up, let it run till it's full.
What you should be doing, though, is when you're pumping gas while it's running
Turn
on its
around.
own, turn around, walk around. You should at least walk around your car and look around.
Yeah.
Are your tires well inflated?
That's a good
Do
idea.
your lights look good? Do you need to clean anything off with the little spongy?
Yeah. Well, you
you
know
know-
what, like natives in Africa, they put on the back of their hats? They'll put eyes, little cat eyes thing on the back of their hats, because the predators hiding in the bush will only attack you if your back is turned to them.
Are you talking about like the?
Not the wobbly eyes. Not
I'm
the
talking about the
googly.
little glow in the dark thing we used to put on
Cat
our
eyes.
PDU caps.
Yeah, we call them cat eyes.
Yeah.
No, they actually look. They're
So as you're
bright.
doing your patrols, you can see the guy in front of you, so you don't
Yeah.
get lost.
Maybe something similar, but
I miss those.
I have mine. My patrol cap is right across the wall there.
I might have mine in a bag.
Um,
Oh, I gotta dig it out.
it doesn't even fit on my fat head anymore. So anyway, what they will do is put eyes, or they'll put white paint that look like eyes with a black circle on the back of their hats. So when they're walking down a trail, a leopard or a lion or whatever won't attack them from the rear. So a predator, a person, is going to prey upon somebody who is an easy target. They don't want a hard target that's going to fight them or it's going to see them doing what they're doing. They're looking for a specific type of person who is distracted and not paying attention.
I'm going to go one step further. This has nothing to do with the security of you and your situational awareness and paying attention to what's going on around you. There is always someone who witnesses these things.
Yeah.
And if you're a man and you're witnessing this and you decide to get out your phone and film it,
Yeah.
you're not a man.
Yeah, you're a predator, just like the guy perpetrating the crime.
Yep. Well, you know what? I'm going to call it straight out. You're a freaking coward.
Yeah. Worse.
You would rather do that than step in and go, hey, 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 hey.
Yeah, and usually that's all it'll take.
Yes.
Is somebody to step up and say stop. There's the famous case of the woman in New York City who was beaten and raped, and she's screaming for help, and everybody heard her screams for help, but nobody wanted to be the first one to go out there and help. And I forget the name of that case, but it's sad that we have like this herd mentality where it's like a self-preservation thing, but then go beyond that and you're going to record it, or you're just going to stand there and watch it and be a bystander.
And that has nothing to do at all with self-preservation.
It goes beyond that. Yeah.
You're just part of the audience.
Yeah, you're a participant almost.
You are. Well,
Especially if
you are a participant.
If you post it online or something, you're just as guilty, or maybe even worse. Like, nah, you're just as guilty. It's sickening.
It is.
And this is kind of goes back to, like, we've talked about this. Like, put your phones away, folks. Look around. Keep your head up. Look around. See what's going on around you. Because, there's that we used to talk about in the Army. Like, no matter what you're doing or where you're at, there's always somebody in the world who's training to kill you. And they're sleeping in the cold and walking up mountains, and they keep their rifle clean, but their teeth aren't even brushed. They keep their rifle more clean than their teeth. And their only goal is to kill you. So act accordingly. And it's weird. You don't need to be paranoid, but you need to be prepared.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Immediately to my mind was the Battle of Stalingrad, 1942, World War II, Germans against the Russians, the Soviets, in the Battle of Stalingrad. That was one of the things that the Soviets determined, or they realized they were winning the battle and the Germans were losing.
How's that?
They began, or they started to stop taking care of themselves.
Yep.
The personal hygiene,
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff that would go, like you said, brushing your teeth, those kinds of things. The Germans quit doing it.
Yep.
And that was the defeatism working into their psyche.
And the same thing happened in Chechnya when the Russians they rained artillery down for weeks and weeks and weeks on Chechnya, and then they moved in, right? But then it was an insurgency, and the Chechens knew that they were winning because they could see that the Russians stopped shaving, and they stopped taking care of their uniforms. They stopped cleaning their equipment.
Right.
And that is the number one sign of a defeated army. When you stop paying attention to your own personal well-being, you're going to be a target. You know, even snipers, they'll pick them out.
You're doomed.
They'll pick out the guy who's looking, one direction only, not head on a swivel. That you notice that stuff. Not to bash our coworker, I think that she just didn't know.
We don't expect it.
You don't expect it, yeah.
I'm in my neighborhood. I'm getting gas.
Yeah.
Things are fine.
And on the flip side is, can you expect everybody to be a predator? Like everywhere you go, this hypervigilance everywhere.
Right. You can't say the devil's behind every bush. You can't do that.
That's
you
not
go through
healthy.
life like that, you're gonna just lose it.
There's like a moderate, low level awareness. That's all you have to have. You don't have to be on high alert. I've been that way in years past, where I couldn't sit with my back to a door in a restaurant. I had to sit in the back corner with an exit, a clear exit, and I could see that, dude, like,
I'm not gonna lie. I still, even in public situations, when I enter into them, some of the things I'm looking for right off the bat. What's my egress?
Yeah.
How am I going to get out? Who are the people I need to pay attention to?
Yeah.
And what's my route in and out, where I'm going?
Sure. But where it
I
becomes
do that everything.
Where it becomes a problem is every time you hear the bell jingle when the doors open, you're
looking
like on high alert, ready to draw and get into action. That's hypervigilance.
It is.
Awareness is just saying, oh, there's a fire extinguisher over there in the corner. If I'm sitting here, if the grease in the fryer catches, I'm going out the front door. If somebody comes in the front door, I'm going out the back door. I can grab my kid. Cool.
Right.
Let's enjoy our meal.
Who can I throw in front of me?
No.
Where's the nearest weapon?
Well, let's talk about this. Let's go down that trail a little bit. What if something happens? What if something goes down while you're inside a restaurant and you're there with your wife and daughter? What are you going to do?
Well, for me, it's I have no idea what the situation is.
Well, somebody comes in, they're going to rob the place.
Well, first off, I'm going to be calm.
Mm-hmm.
Tell everybody else to calm down. Just go with it.
Yep.
And then probably just let them do their thing. And then they're going to do their stuff. They're typically not going to hit all the people. They're going to grab the register and go.
Yeah.
And I'll let them do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Money can be replaced. Your IDs and all that kind of crap can be.
If they start going around to all the people or person,
yeah,
I'm already in my fight or flight mode at that moment. And I'm looking for the first thing I can do to counteract what's happening.
You ever seen the video of the guy, he goes into this Mexican restaurant and he robs the cash register, then he starts going table to table, taking the wallets and purses from everybody. So this guy gives him his wallet, the robber turns his back, the guy draws his pistol and shoots him in the back of the head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're just looking, at that point my eyes are completely focused, and I'm looking at one change. Mm-hmm. All I need is an opportunity. A second.
Yeah. Let's talk about, let's say you're in a grocery store and somebody comes in and starts shooting and you're pushing a grocery cart with your child and wife.
Well, most grocery stores where I know I'm at, I'm already getting them back out to the rear. I mean,
go through the butcher shop.
Yeah, I kind of already know where they're at because
Yeah.
I'm a regular at our local grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
So that part's kind of easy.
Yeah. Don't be a hero.
No.
You're a hero in the Army. A hero is a 4-letter word. When I was a drill sergeant, we would call guys hero, meaning something derogatory, because we wouldn't drill into their heads that the same what Patton said, right? We don't want to be heroes. We want to make heroes out of our enemies, because a hero dies for their cause. We're not here to die for our cause. We're here to win.
Right.
And so your number one priority as a man, as a husband, as a father, is the protection of your wife and children. And you get them out of harm's way as quickly and efficiently as possible. Go through the butcher store. You know, every grocery store has a massive back end, right? So as you're going through the aisles, you need to be aware of where you're at. What's your quickest way to get out of there if something goes down? And again, you don't need to be hyper vigilant and super scared that something's about to happen any second, but you just need to notice this stuff. It's a low level awareness. We're at like DEFCON 1 at this point, right? And
What is DEFCON?
that's like defense. What are they? Defense condition.
Yes. 1 through 5?
Yeah.
Or 4?
4.
Yeah.
DEFCON 4 is like missiles inbound.
I thought it was 4 down to 1.
Is it? Well,
I think it's a countdown.
You're right. Yeah. So DEFCON 4
Right.
is you're prepared. That's it. So you're going through the grocery store, you're prepared.
I even do it when I'm in church.
Yeah.
Where I sit at church, I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do if somebody walks into church?
Yeah.
What am I going to do first with the family?
Yeah.
I'm going to shove them down under the chairs or the benches, wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
And then at that moment, I'm going, okay, what am I doing next? Am I going to jump on top of them or am I going to react?
I'm checking my fields of fire.
I'm probably going to react at that moment because it's life and death at that point.
Absolutely. Somebody's coming in. If somebody comes into a church, they're trying to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm checking my fields of fire and acting accordingly.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too much deeper into that.
Oh, I'm not.
But
where do you think we're going with the podcast? What are your thoughts?
I want to use the word cathartic, but I don't want to sound like a D-bag at the same time. But I feel like we have a lot more to say that we're not saying.
Mm-hmm.
And
By that, what do you mean?
well, there are some things that you and I have talked about that are extremely important in our daily lives that we don't discuss on the podcast. We've dabbled a little bit, but we don't focus on it.
So for you and I both, we're holding back on what we want to talk about.
I feel like that.
So has there been any of because this is show number 22, and we're still in the early stages.
Yeah.
Out of any of the shows, are there any of them in which you can say, I was most comfortable talking? Any of them?
For me, it's not about comfort.
Okay.
I like being uncomfortable.
Okay.
And
Uncomfortable as in honest?
honest, vulnerable,
Okay.
raw. It's your cancer show, man. That's
I had the same thought.
I felt the most fulfilled after hitting stop on our recorder here and posting it.
For me, I'm going to agree in that for me, the cancer show was the best one I did.
Yeah.
Not because of what the topic was, but because I was open and just allowed myself to flow with the conversation. Well, it wasn't a conversation, it was just me talking. But just allowed myself to flow in that dialogue.
Yeah.
And out of all of our other shows, I can't say that there was one in which I had the vulnerability or the willingness to be able to just to speak from the heart and be open in my discussion in what we were doing. And it didn't matter the topic.
Yeah.
Although, I might say a little bit towards I don't know the title of it. The one we talked about, the Blitzkrieg.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that talk.
That was good. Yeah.
A lot of the others, based on notes, a little bit of staging, what it is that we're going to talk about, but just not letting myself just freeform it and just really take off with whatever we're doing.
I think that we're both history buffs.
Yeah.
And we both respect our heritages, where we're coming from, our voice. I think you and I are both in a place in our lives where we are realizing who we are. And maybe that's just our age. I think I met maybe one other person in my life who was a young man who was fully actualized, where I was like, oh, this dude's on another level. And his name is Tom Curley. And I would love to have him on the show one day for you to meet him. But he's an incredible individual. Somebody I worked with at the fire department, and he was destined for something else, not fire service. And I could see that right away. And I encourage that. I think he's actually in the Marine Corps Reserves now. But
well, part of me feels like I hold
him.
back. I hold back some because the people I know that listen know me.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I should consider that or just really be myself.
Well.
And be who I am. And you know what? You don't like it? You can drop off.
Yeah.
You know, I might pick up 5 different listeners based on...
So you and I have known each other for a little over a year now.
Yeah.
And I try to be my genuine self as much as possible, warts and all.
You're pretty big.
And I want people to trust me, to I don't know what else. What am I? I just want people to trust me and believe that what I say is true. That's it. I'm not trying to BS anybody.
Right.
I'm not trying to manipulate people. I'm not trying to do any of this crap that, maybe in a previous life I was trained to do, or, whatever, man.
Well, I don't want to talk in such a way that I am telling you the truth.
Yeah.
But then the listener hears the truth and goes, man, what a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You're a dick. I want to be able to tell the truth in love.
Well, sometimes the truth is offensive, man.
But it doesn't need, I don't need to present it in an offensive way.
Look, Jesus offended a lot of people.
Yeah.
He offended a lot of people. More people than he didn't.
Yeah.
Right? I heard the offensive truth a long time ago and rebelled against it. And,
I guess what I'm saying, when I'm speaking the truth, I don't want to speak the truth in such a way that I'm going, I know I'm right. You suck. Because of me
stop
being
listening
right.
to this right now. Don't
and
listen,
it's about speaking the truth, again.
with love.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something I really struggle with, man. I really struggle with that. The superiority complex.
Yeah.
Right? of I'm right, you're wrong, I win, you lose.
That's not the right way to do it.
No, and I do that all the time, and immediately I have regret. I can't, dude. If I had to count up the amount of times I've apologized to my wife for my attitude and behavior and how I approached a certain subject or conversation, dude, man, we're talking thousands probably, and we've only been married for 3 years.
Yeah, well, I know. I've been married for 32.
32. Just say over 30 and you're good.
Yeah, over 30. That way I don't have to apologize. You're right.
Yeah, come on, man. That's a rookie mistake.
Over 30. And you know what? I could write a book on nothing but apology.
But that's what it's all about, man. As a man, right? The man of the relationship. You're the leader. Oh, Emma's preaching up there.
Oh, she's doing something.
She's telling Caitlin how to cook our dinner.
She's telling Caitlin she wants to go for a walk.
So you're a leader in your family, right? And to be a leader, you need to be a servant. It's a servant leader role. What does that mean, Kevin? What is a servant leader?
Well, you don't put yourself first.
Right.
That's number one. Right? You're putting the others in front of you. You're starting to care for them. I'm right, Emma.
Emma, calm down.
I don't know. Some part of me takes, I think about our header when we start off. Every time we start off, where we talk manhood and tell stories and discuss the things that matter to us.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I call into question that very statement that we proclaim.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, do we really talk the things that matter to us? Do we really talk manhood? Are we living up to what we say we're doing?
Go ahead, finish your point.
That's it.
I would say that, do people perceive what we're saying as manhood, as speaking the things that matter to us? Is that what they're hearing? Or are they hearing misogyny?
Well, I don't know, because nobody responds to what we talk about.
Come on, guys. Obviously, like 80% of our listeners are male, right? Emma's very hungry, and she's... This is one of the joys of parenthood, hearing your young child. Uh-huh. I love this. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Maybe you need to have another one, Kevin.
Nope.
You need grandchildren at this point.
No.
Our most loyal listener.
I am trying.
Give Kevin some grandchildren.
I'm trying to get my own kids out of the house.
Our most loyal listener, get out of the house. All right. So here's what I'm saying. How is your message being received? This is a big thing with me, because I have like a angry, intense face, apparently.
Yeah.
From what I'm told.
Yeah.
To me, I think I'm being sweet and kind and gentle, but other folks, everybody else but me, feels like I'm intimidating and I'm angry and I hate the world. And
people think that way just because they look at the left side of my face.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, look at the right side. See the smile? I think you're making fun of me.
No. But so that's something that I think about. How am I delivering my message? And with this podcast, I think that people will listen to me on this podcast and have a completely different perception of me in person. So one of the things that I consciously think about throughout the day is, I'm having a face-to-face interaction with a person. How are they receiving my message? Am I warm and kind and putting off a persona of I actually care about you. I'm
Why
not
are,
just,
why are you considering that? I mean, why do you think about that?
because I love everybody. I really care.
I mean,
about people.
if you loved everybody and cared about everybody, then I would think that you wouldn't have to even think about it because it's natural.
Dude, I'm 6 foot tall. I'm 215 pounds. My face has a natural scowl to it, and I have like angry eyes. Apparently,
Is that a song?
Huh?
Is that a song?
Angry eyes? No, hungry eyes.
Okay.
Gosh. But
sorry, I equate everything to a song.
so okay, to me, so I was a drill sergeant for a long time, man. Like I was a reserve drill sergeant, and I was on active duty as a drill sergeant. Like it was like years and years and years of being this persona of an authority figure. But throughout those years, it adapted or evolved into something different. And I became the leader that I wanted to follow. That's what I feel like. So in my current role and what I do for a living and in my home with my wife and my daughter and my 2 sons, I try to model the father and the husband that I would want to follow. And it's hard, man. It's really difficult.
Would you say you're confident in who you are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I know who I am.
Are you concerned with how other people perceive you?
Yes and no. At work, and the people whose safety rests in my hands, yes. When I'm out at let me think. You know what? I need to think about that for a minute. What do you think about that?
Well, what was my question?
Do you care about others' perception of you?
There was a time when I considered that quite a bit. To the point of vanity.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's one of those odd things why I think I got the cancer I got. Because of my vanity.
Oh.
Because I was so into myself. I mean, I used to hire photographers to take pictures of me at events.
Oh.
And then, the cancer that I got in my story, I have the face on the left side of me is paralyzed. And, I don't like getting my picture taken these days. And I think that was one of those things like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to cut you off at the knees, buddy. And,
So you think it's like a Job? Not Job. Job didn't deserve what happened to him.
No, I mean, I've gotten past the fact that has happened.
Yeah.
I've learned that I am who I am, and I am a stronger person based on the circumstances of my life.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I'm not so much concerned about how other people feel about me anymore. And at the same time, I am more open and honest and faithful and less judgmental than I used to be.
Yeah. So, okay.
So I'm not trying to hide myself anymore. And then so that's kind of my challenge on the podcast is I'm wondering, am I not talking enough? Am I not being honest enough when I'm speaking? And
Yes.
should I be opening myself up more and not worried about who's listening? Because again, we talked about this when we started.
Yeah.
This is our passion project.
Right.
So why am I concerned about our listeners? I shouldn't be. I should be concerned about us and our discussion and what we're trying to convey to others.
Yeah.
And if you buy into it, great. If you don't, fine.
That's okay. There's a billion other podcasts.
Right. Or if you don't like it, start your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Something you just said struck a chord in me where it's like, I'm not concerned what other people think about me. I'm more concerned about me being my genuine self.
Right.
And I think that I was hiding my genuine self while I was in the military for a long time. While I was in while I was a volunteer firefighter, I was hiding out. I was just like learning. I didn't know what I was doing. But when I became a full-time firefighter, a paid fireman, I was really trying to be myself.
Well, what is your genuine self? I mean, how do you define that?
Man. Meek.
Vulnerability.
Vulnerable, yeah.
I mean,
but I know that the thing about me is like I know I'm a strong leader, but that terrifies me because I know how lonely it is, and I know how vulnerable you have to be as a leader. Like, dude,
I've seen it two ways from the leadership perspective. I am the type of person who I would classify myself as a natural leader.
Yeah, there's definitely two different types.
Yeah, and the only reason why I know that I'm a natural leader is because I can walk into a room of 10, 20, 30 people, and I'm going to hide in a corner. I don't know anybody there. Mm-hmm. But within an hour, suddenly, it could be an event in which someone needs to be the note taker, or someone who can put everybody together. And for whatever reason, I always end up being that guy.
Yeah.
To me, that's the number one characteristic of a natural leader. People go, hey, why don't you step up here? And so that part I recognize about myself. And I also know that I've sabotaged myself as a leader over the years because I'm moving into this leadership role, and it keeps on moving.
Well,
and
there's that imposter syndrome that comes along, right?
A little bit, yeah.
So when you get promoted in the military, I can't imagine what it's like for officers if you're going from a first lieutenant to a captain. That's a massive step.
It's
because first
it's
lieutenant,
not really.
You're an XO. You're an
it's not
executive
really.
officer.
I
You're
mean,
like an admin guy.
I mean, yeah, but as a first lieutenant, I was the battalion S4.
Oh, well.
And you know what? I remember going to our hail and farewell in which I was leaving the battalion, and they were doing a farewell for me. And, two of the other officers, superior in rank to me, said, best S4 we ever had. I'm just a first lieutenant.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective as an enlisted man, if you're an E6 and you PCS, permanent changes, duty station, they're just like, all right, we'll see you later, man. And dude, you've been in the military for like 10 years.
It's the same way for the military.
But as
for
a lieutenant,
officers,
there's no hail and farewell for a squad leader.
No,
you get.
they do that for the officers.
Yeah, that's all. There's a big difference, a big difference.
I don't even know they do that stuff anymore. Because again, they got rid of the officer club, which I think is the worst thing ever I heard about. The military.
Do a hail and farewell, but I've only been to one for company commanders and above. First lieutenants, they're you know that they're the second in command, and they're the headquarters platoon leader, and this is just from combat engineers or infantry. It's like, yeah, they're the second in command. There's only one first lieutenant in the company.
I honestly don't think there's much change between officer changes until you hit the rank of lieutenant colonel. Honestly. I mean, again, I got out of the Army as a captain.
Yeah. Our first lieutenant, when he was leaving, they were just like, all right, see you later, dude.
But there isn't anything different. I mean, captains, operations managers, a major doesn't hold a command of anything.
Well,
He's just a staff officer.
So here's it should not be a big deal because the person below you should be fully capable of filling your role because you were a good enough leader to train them to take over in case you were killed. Right?
It's the same in the civilian world.
You should know the job above you and the job below you.
Right.
That in the Army, period. It doesn't matter if you're enlisted, you're an officer, whatever. If you're a private first class, if you have an E1 below you, you better know his freaking job because one day he might not be there.
Well, it's the same thing I say in the civilian world.
Yeah.
You know, anybody who reports to me, their goal should be to put me out of a job. And not to put me out of a job literally to get me fired or let go, but to understand my role so that way I can focus on the role of my boss above me.
I'm breathing down your neck, Kevin.
And keep moving. And, you know, that's, you know, our boss's favorite phrase, delegate to elevate.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of that I think is just delegation so you don't have to elevate so much. You can just keep doing what you want to do.
No.
But I mean, essentially, that's what it is. So you can actually
take a vacation and, like, enjoy your life, and you know that the place isn't going to burn to the ground while you're gone.
Right, but you got to build bench strength. And that's the whole point. You should be investing in the people that report to you to be able to handle things. So if you can go away, you can go away.
They can say, man, one day I'm going to do this job. I don't have to jump ship and go to another company.
Right. And anybody thinks that they're essential?
No.
You're not.
Nobody is essential. Up to the CEO,
a single person.
Even the owner of the company, you're not essential. Somebody else can do that.
Right. Someone else is going to step in.
Like the president of the United States could be replaced in 3 years from now, 3.5 years, right? And our
some
country
cases
will
4 days.
Our country will still go on.
Right. In one case, was it 4 days?
Yeah.
I think that was the quickest.
Yeah, I think so. Is it Millard Fillmore?
Somebody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's dead.
Anyway, so this is kind of my challenge right now with our podcast. We're 22 shows in.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed everything we've done so far. And I'm looking forward going, what...
Yeah. What are we gonna do when we get to James Strong's level? 400 episodes.
Do I have to have a topic every week?
Yes.
Do I need to do note-taking? Or can I sit here and just shoot the shit and really put out there what's on my mind?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
I think so. I think we can do a combination of both, and I think we have a lot to say. I think you and I have some real wisdom to pass on. I don't care if that sounds pretentious.
It's not. I mean, you and I have
we've lived a hell of a life.
Well lived.
A hell of a life, man.
Yeah. You and I have a lot of experience.
And I've made
in the times we've been here.
I've made some crazy mistakes in my life that I think people can learn from.
Yeah. I mean, I've told my children, I lived my whole life by the time I was 25. Everything else is just gravy.
I laugh because Caitlin, her and I, she literally was like, you have accomplished your entire bucket list like 10 years before I met you. What are we going to do? Like, I'm like, oh, I'll just make a new bucket list, I guess. I don't know.
Suck face.
Make babies.
Right. I didn't think you wanted to do that.
You know what, Kevin? I'm in a Twitter group, an X group chat, and I text them almost daily where I say, wake up, read your Bible, work out, make babies. That's my philosophy. I get up every day between 4 and 4:30.
Honestly, that's why I never got fixed.
Yeah. I mean,
because I always thought at some point in my life I'm going to be the guy that's going to help procreate.
Unvaxxed.
Rebuild the population.
Well, Caitlin's going to have to...
anyway.
Yeah, my beautiful wife. That's why I married a younger woman. And you know what? I when I met Caitlin, I was like, I'm not getting married. We can date and we can be boyfriend and girlfriend, but I'm never getting married again. And then I married her. I was like, all right, I'll marry you, but I'm never having another baby. I can't do it. I'm too old. I don't want to be an old dad. And guess what? We had a baby. And then I'm like, all right, one's enough. I'm not having another baby.
I don't know.
That's enough.
I've got a 50-year-old friend of mine who just had another baby.
God bless him.
And his thing is, well, you know what? That's what she wanted.
Yeah. Babies are great, man. They're great. They're awesome. Thank you for bringing the bourbon tonight, Kevin. The Wolcott.
Yeah.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
A flight. And I think next episode we need to have Dave back. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea. I think he's got some stories to tell.
Yeah. Both Daves. Your Dave and my Dave. Let's have them both back again.
Oh, boy.
Maybe at the same time.
Oh.
No.
I don't know.
One right after the other. And we love having guests on the show. If you want to be a guest on the show, we welcome you. You can hit us up at showmemk@gmail.com, at X, the show, what is it? The Headspace and Tasting Podcast on X.
Shame.
And Facebook. The shame at Facebook.
Yeah.
Headspace and Tasting Podcast on Facebook.
If you want to donate a bourbon for us to sample and taste on the show,
please.
Love to have it.
For the love of everything that is holy, donate a bourbon. I'm poor.
Yeah, me too.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time on the Headspace and Tasting Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our most loyal listener. You know who you are. We love you. We appreciate you. We're rooting for you. Bye-bye.
Peace out.